Hello and welcome to another episode of Bare Bones Wargaming, a show with no bells, no whistles, no frills, just a man, a camera, and his game. This episode, I am going to be doing my review of a game I've been playing over the last almost week now, non-stop, Stalingrad Inferno on the Volga. Now I did a playthrough video earlier today of it, and I'm back again to do this video because, as the old saying goes, strike while the iron is hot. So my newborn has been very cooperative today with his sleeping. Everybody's asleep right now. My newborn, my wife, and my toddler. So I'm taking advantage by staying awake and doing some more work, so to speak. Right, I mean, I gotta call it work, but anyway, you get the idea. Let's do some more stuff here with my channel. So, we're going to do here now, I like to call on Bare Bones Wargaming, the Bare Bones Wargaming OT opinion time. And that means we need to look at this game in terms of, well, again, to avoid copyright trouble, bear with me. We're going to look at the good, the bad, and the ugly. Alright. So, got my handy little dry erase board here. And of course you can see at a quick glance, first of all, I should never teach anybody else how to write, obviously. And, yeah. So, let's get at it here. So, let's just start with the good. The good. First of all, number one on the good. Replay value on this is incredibly high. There are so many different variables on this thing, it is crazy. From the Soviet AI, never knowing whether they're going to be spawning or moving and where they're going to be moving and attacking, to the cards in both decks, you never know which ones are going to come out in what order, to the German reinforcements, and of course just the die rolls themselves. All of that stuff makes for very high replayability. So far, like I said, this is my 5th game, I think, that I'm currently doing here right now, and I don't think, no game has been the same so far. So each one has had its own different character to it. This one's actually turned interesting, because if you watched my replay video before, you know I drew that OKH card really quick, and that changed the victory conditions, but I've actually been quite lucky, because the Soviets have had just a couple of top-heavy hexes. They've been shuffling people around. I don't know if they're just trying to dig in someplace or what they're doing, but again, that's kind of the coolness of it too, is you know, it's part of the replay value is AI may do things that you might raise your eyebrows at, but you know, that's okay, because to me all competition is about taking advantage of your opponent's mistakes. That's what it takes to win. I mean, you could say that sometimes people outplay other people, and I will vote for that, but even then it's still mistakes, like the great Bobby Fischer, you know, as they used to say about him, you know, he would pile one microscopic advantage on top of another until it became like an extra pawn. And of course, an extra pawn in Fischer's hands was usually lethal. So, you know, still mistakes, even if they're ones that may not be perceptible at the time that they're being executed. So, second thing that's good, this is quick and easy rules to get into. The rulebook is laid out well. I've had only a few questions, actually things that I really just had to quote-unquote double check. I've been able to figure out everything else pretty much on my own. I've looked at some of the threads on Board Game Geek, which there's not that many, by the way, which is good. You know, you don't want to see a billion of them. Hitler's Reich. So, yeah, go take a look at that if you want to. See a lot of discussion about a game in the rule book. But this one's very well done. The rules are quick, they're easy to grasp, easy to jump into. If you're an experienced wargamer, you'll have no trouble grasping this, without a doubt. Another thing that I really like about the game that is good is the examples. The examples are outstanding. I mean, just look at this example here, talking about, you know, the short moves, okay? You know, you can see here, not only is the diagram color, it's got numbers labeled that match with the text. You've got exclamation points being You've got X's saying I can't go here, green arrows saying I can go here. I mean, it's just very well done. And all the examples in this book, rule book, have been very, very well done. They have helped me very quickly grasp the rules, which Again, it is a block game, and block game, in my opinion, block game rules are usually a little simpler than hex and counter ones, but this definitely has helped with that. Another thing I really like about the game is the designer options. You know, if you think the game is too tough, well, then you can come back here to this section entitled The Designer's Way. You know, and you can add different levels of difficulty. If this is your first war game, it even suggests how to make the Soviets easy, how to make the German situation almost impossible to win. I mean, all of that is very cool, you know, giving you all the options. Which leads me to another point. This game design is simple without being simplistic. This is pretty straightforward. Once you get the grasp of, hey, these are the things the Germans can do. Here's how the Soviet AI works. Which the flowchart for this is pretty short. It's pretty simple. It's not complicated. You know, there it is. That's pretty straightforward and simple. But again, it's not simplistic. Those are two different things. So I do like how simple and straightforward this is, but it's not simplistic. There's a lot of things going on here, and a lot of things you have to consider as you play this game. And it would be interesting to see what it's like to play it both co-op, which I think solitaire co-op games are just genius, and play it competitively. But I probably will only ever play this solo because I just prefer to play my war game solo. That's all. It's just my thing. Now again, that may change with my boys as they grow up. If they start to enjoy playing war games and stuff, that would be very cool. But I had my fair share of playing competitively when I played competitive chess, and that was a double-edged sword. It was fun at times, but it also was very draining and annoying, for lack of a better way to put it, and I don't care to elaborate because that's not what this is all about. So let's keep moving, shall we? Friction. I love the amount of friction in this. Friction, which of course is a key concept of war, is all through this, and it's kind of connected to the replayability, to the different cards, to the different units the Germans may or may not get, units they may have to withdraw, the pressure luck reinforcement aspect of things. All of that, you know, the Soviet units, not only the Soviet units, who are they, but what strength they are. You know, you may have a guards unit. I had that happen with my playthrough video. There was a Soviet guards unit I ran into, but it only had one step. So who cares? But it goes back into the pool because, you know, it may come back, you know, rebuilt and stuff. You know, you got to remember, the Soviets lost, by current estimates, the last things I've seen, they lost close to 1 million men fighting for Stalingrad. I mean, you know, everybody talks about, you know, 300,000, roughly 300,000 Germans that were pocketed and stuff when the Soviets launched their counteroffensive. But the Soviets lost about 1 million people defending this city. That's just crazy to think about. So it's not, you know, it's not odd that the Soviet units just keep coming back and back and back and back and back and back and back, you know, over and over again, because that's what really happened. So there's a lot of friction elements here, a lot of uncertainty, and I like that because war should have that. War games should have that element to them. I also like the different victory conditions. You know, initially the Germans can either capture the 6 spawn hexes, or they can turn around and destroy every Soviet unit on the map, which is, as Essex said back in the 60s, easier said than done. But that leads me to my next point, is the victory conditions can change. Because when this guy comes out, which happened to me like really quick, the game I'm currently still playing, this OKH guy who, you know, he's looking there all smug with his briefcase and stuff. And yeah, I'm the one that's got to execute your orders. All of a sudden you got to take every single space on the riverbank. And now it's completely a different game. Totally a different game. Which, by the way, just to follow up my playthrough video, I'm actually not doing too bad. If you look here in the center of the city, I've managed to punch my way through almost to the banks, and there's a spawn hex there. I'm driving on another spawn hex. I cleared the northern or southern part of the bank, the riverbank there, and I'm getting ready to move from the north down here too. So I own about, well, 1, 2, 3, 4. Wait, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. So I have control of about 6 of the 19 hexes that I need to win. So a little under half, I should say. So, but again, I mean, that unpredictability is cool because, you know, we all know with the history what happened, but part of the reason we play war games is for what might have happened. And that, quite frankly, that's where I do it. I don't know about the rest of you, but I just like the idea of playing with history, trying different things, seeing what might have happened. You know, if I want to know what happened, I'll read a book rather than play a game, quite frankly. I mean that in the sense of, I don't want a scripted game. I don't mean I don't like simulation games, but, you know, if I just want to know, here's what really happened, this happened, this happened, this happened, and here's why, I'll read a book. you know, rather than play a game. I want to have games that give me options, give me things that I can do within certain realistic parameters, obviously. That's what I'm looking for in my games. So, lots of good stuff here. A couple of things that go in the bad category. One of them is with the rulebook. The one drawback to the rulebook is kind of how it's organized. Because here, when it talks about units at the top of page 5, it tells you what to do with destroyed Soviet units and destroyed German units. Okay, that's fine. Because this whole section is basically like the basic concepts overview. Got it. But here's the thing. You get to the combat section here, on page, what is this, 10? It's not mentioned what happens to them. And I think an important rule like that, especially for people first time playing the game, especially for brand new people to war games, those need to be repeated in those key areas. I like the fact that it's up front being like, hey, here's the key ideas, but adding those extra sentences there, 1 or 2 sentences to those relevant sections, very important in my opinion to do. So that should have been done. The other thing here is the card draw. For those of you who don't like things being too luck dependent, the card draw may drive you crazy. Like for this current game I have Paulus, which in a normal German game you get to draw 1 card whenever you do a reinforcement action or capture a spawn hex, but Paulus says you get 2. So I've got a whole stack of units here, or support cards I should say, to help my units, so I can blast my way through some of this stuff whenever I get to some of these stronger Soviet hexes. And again, that kind of tilts it in the Germans' favor, but then again, it can also be, you know, for the Soviets, if they get certain cards out, especially leader cards like Khrushchev and Chuikov, it's going to be really tough sledding, so to speak, for the German army in this game. So the card draw can make things, I would not say it unbalances things or it makes it so it's not fun, but it can make things a little wonky, for lack of a better way to put it. It can make things, you know, kind of feel a little whoa, shaky kind of thing with the card draw. So that's something to be aware of here, depending on how the cards fall out. But I think that's true of any games that have cards. I mean, you know, it's just the luck of the draw, literally, in some cases. And the ugly. So the ugly part here, 2 ugly things. First of all, there's no player aid card. All those things, like the combat sequence of play is outlined terrifically in the rulebook. You know, you've got the flowchart on the back of the rulebook. You've got other things in the rulebook, but notice I'm using the word rulebook. Some of those things should have been on the player aid card. So you can quickly flip through it once you get a hold of the rules, so you don't have to flip back and check details. So this thing really did need a player aid card. The other thing that can be ugly is the strength of some of the cards, especially the leader card, because Chuikov really makes things tough for the Germans. So if Chuikov comes out early, it can be ugly with opportunity fire. What do I mean by that? Well, let's take a look here at my situation. If Chuikov was in the game right now, and I was trying to attack this spawning hex, there is a step where every Soviet unit that is next to every German space that is attacking gets to do a single die roll, single fire against them. And basically those casualties happen immediately. That can be huge, especially if you get a bunch of unlucky die rolls. So if you get that early and you get Khrushchev early, which gives you +1 to all your die rolls, so suddenly a unit with single fire will hit on a 5 or a 6, that can make things really ugly. But the flip side is, of course, if you get Paulus early like I did, the Germans are going to get extra cards when they're drawing. If you get Richthofen out, you're going to be able to double the value of your Stukas. So instead of rolling 5 dice, you roll 10. So a few of the cards feel, I don't know if I want to say overpowered. That's not quite accurate. But it can make things turn ugly very quick in the game. So that is something to take into consideration. Again, I would not go so far as to say as it unbalances the game, but it definitely gives it a different feel and can make things very difficult or very easy in some senses. But that's part of the thing I like about this game is the fact that it plays quickly, it's straightforward, and if something like that happens, let's say the first 2 Soviet cards you draw are Chuikov and Khrushchev, which, you know, you might as well stick a fork in you because you're basically, you're about cooked. But you can set this thing up quickly. again, I mean, now that I've gotten the hang of this, it takes me about 10 minutes to reset the game. That's it. No more than 10. And, you know, if you get a game like that where it's like some of the cards come out really heavy one way or the other, hey, you know what? If you just like, dude, okay, I'm not going to be able to win this thing, or, you know, this is being too easy. So then you just quit and reboot, reload. And you can reload quickly with this, which is nice. The components in the game, just to give a few closing comments here. I like the blocks are nice, the stickers are nice. Even the icon stickers are clearly labeled as far as what units are who, so it's easy to go ahead and be able to find what you need if you don't use the ones that are the NATO symbols. The map is nice. I'm glad I splurged for the mounted map board. I was impressed enough with it that I actually ordered a mounted map board for my Leningrad 41 and my Moscow 41 games as well. The cards are nice. I've sleeved mine because that's just as I always do anymore. Any games I think I'm going to play a lot, I sleeve the cards, just because I'm a what's the word I want? I'm an assertive card shuffler. Let's put it that way. So sleeves are my best friend when it comes to shuffling. But again, the rulebook, with the exception that I mentioned before, is really well done. All the components are nice. This is just a very nicely done game again. And quite frankly, it's going to become my go-to game on Stalingrad, because unlike other Stalingrad games I've played in my life, of which I would say Turning Point Stalingrad is the one that I have the most experience with, most other Stalingrad games I've played have felt tedious. And granted, I'm sure the battle felt that way to both sides, just day after day pounding away at each other. But I don't want to play a game like that. That's just no. This game goes quick and furious, and it's fast, and it still gives you the same tension, the same feeling, that same grind, in my opinion. Even with the simpler rule set, counter density, if you will, counter density, so to speak, in a block game, it still is effective in portraying the battle, in my opinion. So, in that sense, it is going to become my go-to game on Stalingrad, and this game is going to have a place in my collection basically forever, because I really do like it. I've enjoyed every single play I've done so far, even this one where things went sour big time, although no Tweakov and no Khrushchev yet. Yeah, speaking of knocking, that's the last thing I need, is Khrushchev showing up with his shoe, right? But it can happen. It can happen very quickly, too. So, for me, this game is definitely a winner. And it will stay in my collection. I have been very pleased with all the games I've purchased from, and I'm hoping you're pronouncing this right, Vento Nuevo games. I have also Blocks in the East, which I really haven't played just yet. But I do hope they get around to doing a Rostov 41 game. I think that would be really cool, you know, after the fall of Kiev, dashing for Rostov. Hint, hint there. This is a good game. It's a game that I enjoy. It may not be for everybody, but I like it, and it's definitely a good addition. There's the word I want. I must be getting tired. Addition to my East Front collection. So, now, speaking of East Front, next time I see y'all, as we say here in the Old Dominion State, I'm going to be taking a look at another game I just picked up, Pavlov's House. This one came out recently too. I debated this for a while because I'm not much of a tactical wargamer, and there is a tactical element to this, but I do like the kind of defend the castle, States of Siege kind of games, which I understand this has elements of that. And it just looks intriguing to me. So I'm going to go ahead and obviously try it. And I will do an unboxing video of it sometime in the near future once I get this game finished, because I gotta see if I can pull this off and conquer the whole riverbank, which that's a tall order, but who knows? I might be able to pull it off. I mean, I got lucky with a lot of those German blue units coming into the game as early as they did, so I've been able to sweep down, or sweep up, I guess, the riverbank there as I'm going along. So, Pavlov's house is next on the agenda. Unboxing video I will do in the near future. And I do thank the one individual, Command, I think his handle was Command Magazine. Hold on a second. Let me take a look here real quick. Just because I want to give credit where credit is due. Because I always think that's important. You know, but this individual, Conflict Magazine, he did a nice job on my last unboxing video on this game, outlining why unboxing videos are so important and why they're good for folks to see. So, I guess you could say he converted me to that approach. So Judas Priest will be out the window. I'll have to find a new theme song for my unboxing videos. I'm still working on that one. So I will be unboxing Pavlov's house, and then of course doing a playthrough of Pavlov's house as well. And again, I'll be curious to see, because I'm not much of a tactical war gamer. I own 570 games right now, and I think 3. Yeah, I believe I only own 3 tactical war games right now. So, just not my cup of tea, as it were. So, there you have it. There's my thoughts on Stalingrad Inferno on the Volga. So this is Tim Portnoy from Bare Bones Wargaming saying thanks for watching. And next time I will see you from somewhere here in the city streets of Stalingrad as I flip to the other side and defend Pavlov's house. Thanks for watching.